Hey everyone, Dave McKay here. This is the first mini tutorial that I'm going to give, and it's going to be about balancing equations. Now I'm going to start with this particular reaction, H2, which is the formula for hydrogen gas, and I'm going to react it with, that's what the plus sign means, with oxygen gas, the formula for which is O2. Now you've probably seen this reaction before. In fact, you've seen the results of it. I've shown you that YouTube clip of the Hindenburg blowing up, and this is precisely the reaction that occurred. It released, obviously, quite a lot of energy. So when those two react together, you end up with water, H2O. Now this equation is not too bad at this point. It's telling you what the reactants are and what the product is. The problem with it is that it's not balanced, and what I mean by that is that it violates the law of conservation of matter or mass. Why am I saying that? Well, what it's saying here at the moment is I start with 2 atoms of hydrogen and I end up with 2 atoms of hydrogen. That's all good. But I start with 2 atoms of oxygen and I actually end up with only 1 atom of oxygen. In other words, it's like 1 atom of oxygen has just disappeared into nothing. Now that can't occur. So what we've got to do is balance the equation so that it doesn't violate this law of conservation of mass or matter. How do we do that? Well, when people first start learning to balance chemical equations, the tendency seems to be for them to do this. Put a 2 there. Now you can see that the equation's balanced. I've started with 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens, I've got 2 oxygens, 2 oxygens. You might say, well, I've done a good job. However, that's not right, because this formula here is no longer the formula for water. It's actually the formula for hydrogen peroxide. 2 very, very different compounds, so we're not allowed to do that. So the only way we can really balance this is by putting numbers in front of these formulae here, and those numbers are called coefficients. So if I rewrite the equation again, I've got H2 plus O2 gives H2O. What I can do then is start playing around with these coefficients, as I said. Well, if I put a 2 there, that's telling me now I've got 2 molecules of water. That's fine. But it's also telling me I've now got 2 atoms of oxygen. So it's balanced with respect to the oxygen now. I start with 2 atoms of oxygen, I end up with 2 atoms of oxygen. The problem now is that I've got 4 atoms of hydrogen here, and I only start with 2 atoms of hydrogen. It's like 2 atoms of hydrogen have just been created out of nothing. So I have to put a coefficient of 2 here. Now it's balanced. Now, what I always say to students, and in fact I still do it myself, is to make sure that when you think it's balanced, go back and recheck it. Okay, I've got 4 atoms of hydrogen, 4 atoms of hydrogen, 2 atoms of oxygen, 2 atoms of oxygen. The equation's balanced.